So this is Dr. Kavita Singh, Associate Professor in Department of Civil Engineering in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So today we are going to discuss on a topic called as types of rocks. So if you remember in the previous lectures we have discussed about different kinds of minerals. Now we are going to discuss what is a rock and what are the different types of rocks. In the previous lecture we have already discussed about what is a rock. Now we are going to understand what are the different types of rocks. So let us start this lecture today. So here types of rocks, we have basically we have three types of rocks. At the formation time, if we see, we have three types of rock based on the formation. So three types of rocks are igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks. So these three types of rocks are formed based on their occurrence, based on their appearance, or based on the lava formation and based on the magma formation here. So lava and magma, these are the two things where the rock is formed after the cooling of the lava, either the cooling of the magma. So that all depends based on the type of cooling, based on the type of accumulation of these all three types of rocks. So all the rocks we will be discussing one by one. So let us start with this igneous rocks. As you remember, we have already learned about different various types of rocks in the previous lectures also. So igneous rocks are basically those rocks which are formed due to the lava exposure, or the occurrence of lava or the occurrence of magma. Either the lava, once it comes out, once it cools down rapidly, then the formation of igneous rocks will take place, or else the magma itself, when it is inside the earth surface, when it is inside the volcano, and when it cools down very slow rate, then also the formation of igneous rocks will take place. So igneous rocks are the rocks. These are the rocks which are very strong. They are very strong in nature. So these kind of rocks, strong in nature. So these kind of rocks are basically, it is used in the construction field. So lots of there are different types of rocks formed due to the intrusive and extrusive kind of classifications of the rocks. So let us understand what kind of rock it is. So igneous rocks are formed from the cooling and solidification. So first of all, cooling and solidification of molten rock material, either magma or lava. So these are the two things, magma or lava are the two things how the solidification will take place. So they make up the majority of Earth's crust and are classified based on the origin. They are classified based on the origin, texture, mineral composition. So they have different kinds of mineral present in this type of rocks, whatever we find here. So based on the origin, it consists of different kinds of mineral, and based on the mineral presence, the texture of the rock. So the texture of the rock will differ here, and the mineral composition. Now classification, if we classify the igneous rock basically. So igneous rocks are classified based on the formation. So if we classify it based on the formation here. So based on the formation, we have intrusive and extrusive. So in the previous lecture also we have discussed about these two types of classification, intrusive and extrusive. So these two kind of rocks are classified based on the formation base. Now intrusive rocks, igneous rocks form inside the earth crust from slowly cooled magma. So they are inside the earth surface, inside the earth crust, and they are slowly formed by the cooled magma here. So slow cooling allows the large visible crystals to form. So here slow cooling rate will allow the large crystals which are present inside the earth surface, and they are visibly like a crystal form. So they slowly cool down and they form as an igneous rock. So what are the examples here? So if you talk about the examples of igneous rock here, so we have a granite, diorite, gabbro, peridotite. So these are the few examples. We call it as intrusive rocks. So intrusive rocks are the rocks which are formed by the magma here. Okay. So I hope you remember we have discussed in the previous lecture what is lava and what is magma. So we can just revise once again. So lava is a molten material when it comes out of the volcano from the earth crust. So when it comes into the exposure of water or air, so it cools very rapidly. That we call it as the intrusive. That we call it as extrusive kind of rocks, and that we call it as lava also. So what is intrusive here? Intrusive means the magma which is present in the molten form. This magma which is present in the molten form under the volcano, that cools down very slow rate, and that kind of rock we call it as intrusive or plutonic rocks. Now from inside the earth crust, from slowly cooled magma, slow cooling allows large visible crystals to form. Now example here you can see. Now these are the few, you can see granite. So granite is one of the rock which is formed by the intrusive, or we call it as plutonic igneous rocks, which is formed under the earth surface, which is formed under the what you can say, under the volcano, which cools down very slow rate, and that kind of rock is very much durable for the construction. So mostly if we see in the regular basis in the construction, we use these kind of granite rocks which are very strong for the foundation too. And we can see here granite rocks. In this we have diorite, gabbro and peridotite. These are the different types again. Now coming to the extrusive kind of rock. Extrusive kind of rock, this all volcanic igneous rocks. So this extrusive rock we call it as, which is formed by the lava. So this lava formation. So these kind of rocks are formed basically. So from on the earth surface, from rapidly cooled lava, and rapid cooling leads to the small crystals or glassy textures. For example, rocks, basalts, rhyolite, and andesite, obsidian, and pumice. So these are the different examples of extrusive rocks which are formed by the volcanic eruption. When the lava comes out, so suppose this is a volcano, so here the lava will be in the molten form, okay, molten material. So this molten material, it comes out from the vent. So this is the one, and this comes as a lava, okay. So it cools down very rapidly. So this kind of material cools down rapidly, okay, so rapidly. So this kind of rock we call it as extrusive or the igneous rocks. Now classification based on the minerals. So this we have seen, this was classified based on its formation here. Now let us understand based on the mineral composition. So here mineral composition, based on the mineral composition, the classification of the rocks are here again different. So we call it as felsic igneous rocks, which is rich in silica and it is light in color. So felsic rocks are the rocks which are rich in silica. It contain high amounts of quartz, feldspar, muscovite. So these all are the minerals which are present in this kind of felsic rocks. So if you remember in the previous lectures, we have already discussed about these three kind of minerals, that is quartz, feldspar and muscovite. So these three types of minerals are present in the igneous rocks. These igneous rocks are the rocks which are formed based on the mineral composition here. So low in iron, magnesium. So they are very low in the iron and as well as in the magnesium, but they are rich in the silica and they are always in the light colored form. Now examples of these felsic igneous rocks, if you talk about the examples here, so we have granite, which is intrusive rock, rhyolite, which is extrusive. So these two both are based on the classification. These two are based on the mineral composition, either intrusive or extrusive. Now felsic rock, and we have intermediate igneous rocks. So composition between the felsic and the mafic. So we have, based on the mineral composition, we have composition between the felsic and the mafic rocks. It contains the moderate amounts of silica, amphibole, feldspar, biotite, and examples of rocks here is diorite and andesite. Diorite and andesite here. And mafic igneous rocks. So what are the mafic igneous rocks here? Basically they are rich in iron and magnesium. So when you call about felsic, that means they are rich in silica. Mafic means they are rich in iron and magnesium. Iron and magnesium, these two types of minerals will be present in the mafic igneous rocks, and it contains the pyroxene, olivine and plagioclase feldspar, and low in silica, making them as a denser material. And examples of these rocks are gabbro, intrusive, basalts and extrusive. So gabbro and basalts are these two kinds of rocks which are very much formed due to the it contains a lot of mafic material here like iron and magnesium. So gabbro and basalt contains magnesium and iron in most of the mineral content here. Now ultramafic igneous rocks, so very high in iron. So ultramafic means it has a rich in iron, but it is very high in iron and magnesium, almost entirely composed of olivine and pyroxene. Very dark and dense. Example rocks: peridotite, intrusive, hematite and extrusive rare. Now let us understand classification, which is based on the texture here. So we have seen based on the composition, based on the appearance, based on the mineral composition. Now let us see the classification based on the texture. So classification based on the texture, the igneous rocks are classified as coarse grain, fine grain, glassy texture, and we have porphyritic texture, we have vascular texture. So these are the few textures which are based on the classification it is formed. So coarse grain, we call it as phenolitic or texture, and so coarse grain means large crystals visible to the naked eye. Now we can see in this image we have large crystals. So these are kind of coarse grained texture. So these are the coarse grain texture and large crystal with the naked eye. Example is granite, gabbro. Fine grain texture here, small microscopic crystal due to rapid cooling. So we can find the small fine grain. So you can see very fine grain crystals, and this is formed based on the rapid cooling. So basalt and rhyolite is the example for the fine grain texture, and granite and gabbro are the example for the coarse grain texture. Now glassy texture, so some of the rocks which looks very glassy in nature. So it doesn't have any crystals, resulting in the smooth glass-like appearance. An example is obsidian. So obsidian is kind of a rock which is formed by it's a igneous rocks, and it doesn't have any kind of crystals here, and it gives a very glassy appearance with the banded. And porphyritic texture, next is porphyritic texture. Now what does it mean? Porphyritic means large crystals. So large crystals you can see here. So these are all large crystals which are found in the porphyritic texture. So porphyritic texture here. Okay, so embedded in a fine grain matrix. An example is andesite. So andesite is one kind of igneous rocks which are formed by this porphyritic texture, where you can find the large crystals inside the rocks. Now vascular texture contains holes formed by the trapped gas bubbles like pumice and scoria. So these two types of rocks, we can say vascular texture means when once the lava comes out of the vent, when it comes out of the volcanic eruption, so it cools very rapidly. So sometimes what happens, there are a lot of gases which are trapped inside as a gas bubble, and immediately it solidifies. So that kind of rocks, we call it as vascular texture. You can see there are a lot of bubbles which are trapped inside. So these bubbles, we call it as vascular kind of texture. Okay. Now significance of igneous rocks. So what is the main significance of the igneous rock here is, so granite is used in the construction. So basically the granite which is used in the construction field because it's a very strong kind of rocks, and basalt is important for road building and concrete, and obsidian was historically used for the tools and the jewelry. Pumice is used in the abrasives and the lightweight concrete. Pumice is a kind of stone, kind of rock which are used as abrasives and also lightweight concrete. And basalts and granite is always used in the building construction field. Applications, if you talk about applications here, so we have different applications of igneous rocks like construction and engineering. So granite used for building monuments, bridges, dams, roads, countertops due to its strength in the durability here. So granite is basically, it's a very durable kind of rock. So that's why it is used in the monuments, it is used in the bridges, it is used in the dams, road construction, and countertops. Basalt used in road construction as a crust stone. Railway ballast as an aggregate in the concrete. Diorite used as a construction stone and for making the ornamental structures here. Now gabbro used in the construction as a crust stone in the making the countertops and the floor tiles. So next, coming to the industrial uses here. So we have different industrial uses here, like pumice used as a abrasives in polishing, scouring, and in lightweight concrete. So pumice is a material, it's a kind of rock where we can use it for the abrasive purpose, for polishing purpose, for scouring purpose, and as well as for the, it's used in the lightweight concrete too. So peridotite, a source of magnesium and other materials used in the steel industry. Obsidian is used in the surgical scalpels and jewelry due to its sharp edges and glassy appearance. Decorative and aesthetic uses. So granite and diorite used for flooring, cladding, and sculpture. So as it is a this kind of rocks can also be used as the aesthetic uses, like we can use it for the flooring purpose. So most of the places we see the granite is used as a floor material or for cladding and for sculptures, and obsidian is used for jewelry and decorative objects. Now, as a geological and environmental use here, so basalt and scoria, it is used in the soil conditioning, drainage system, and tuff used in the lightweight construction material and insulation also. So this was about the igneous rocks. So these are the few references you can just go through to find out the more content about the igneous rock. So just you can go refer these books for finding about the more information about the igneous rocks. So that's all for today. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.